Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to Nature Obscura, a podcast where nature and the supernatural mold into a beautiful stew. I'm Marissa.
And I'm Grace. Every week, we bring you spooky tales from the great outdoors, from cryptids and curses to ghosts, witches, and everything in between.
Now, while we love, or maybe are intrigued by, a demonic entity knocking 3 times at 3 in the morning, that's not what we're here for. We're taking you around the globe to explore where nature and the supernatural intersect.
And first, we're going to dive into some natural history, where we explore the land and those who call it home, before diving into our main story.
Grab your flashlight. I always do. So grab your flashlight, listen closely, and watch out for the alligators. Today, we're heading to Georgia's Okefenokee Swamp, which actually made the news in the past week for becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has now joined other iconic places, including the Great Barrier Reef in Australia and even the Taj Mahal in India. My favorite habitat is a swamp. There is something inherently mystical about them, and for the Okefenokee Swamp, something supernatural as well. Before we get into the cryptids, ghostly lights, and haunting apparitions of the region, let's get into our week and then the natural history. What have you been up to, Grace?
Just doing the parenting thing, and work.
And that's a lot, yeah.
It's a lot. But my daughter's been doing the craziest stuff lately. I never realized how smart babies are. She's a year old now, but I can tell her to do things. I'll tell her to take something to the trash and she'll do it. I'll tell her to go give something to her dad and she does it. Or
oh my gosh.
give a toy or a treat to our cat and she'll do it.
She's only a year.
It's insane. I don't understand how it happened so fast. It was overnight. She's like, oh yeah, I can do things. I'm like, what?
Super genius.
Yeah. And today, she started chasing a bird. Yeah, there was just a robin running around on the ground and she darted. She ran for it. I got a video I will send you. I mean, It's really cute because pretty much right off the bat, she fell and kind of flips. But she got right back up and she started running right for that bird. And then it flew off and she just stands there perplexed. It's so cute. I can't wait to show you.
A future ornithologist. She's wondering, when do I learn to fly? I've mastered crawling. Now I'm walking. When does the flight take place?
Oh. Well, it's every time she stubs her little fingers or toes or something, I'm like, oh, we have to do everything once. And it's one day she's going to get burned and one day she's going to learn that she can't fly. So sad.
The Hogwarts letter will never come for her in second grade.
Yeah. Darn. We all have to learn that kind of pain and disappointment eventually, I guess.
That's true. Part of life. But
yeah,
that's really cool. It's funny that you're talking about how smart your daughter is because I was actually going to talk about how dumb my dog is.
Oh, perfect.
So does the baby recognize when she herself is farting? Because Junie, my dog, always acts surprised that she can fart and she looks confused. I'll be laying next to her. What was that? Why did that just come from there? It's you're 6 years old. Aren't you the smartness
so
of a toddler now?
When she farts, she will look at me and laugh. I think she knows.
She knows.
Yeah.
So it's official. She is smarter than Junie, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lately, I've just been watching an obscene amount of television and not doing much else. So currently, I finished Shrinking. I'm on an Apple TV kick because I finally got Apple TV. Binge watched Ted Lasso, fantastic show. Went through 4 other things. Watch Pluribus. Recommend that. It's a weird sci-fi involving a hind mind. I won't go too much into it because right now I'm talking about Severance. It's with Adam Scott, who played Leslie Knope's husband in Parks and Rec. I don't remember his character's name. Ben. And it's about this idea where you have a completely separate self from work. So there's your brain is severed. So there's a work you and an outside you. And it explores that concept. Sci-fi, scary. And I feel a lot of people joke oh, I would like to not have my brain at work and, like, have a completely outside life. But I don't know. I do like my work, but sometimes it feels like it can be, like, all-encompassing and blur into your actual outside life, where it's like,
Yeah.
"Huh, maybe that'd be nice." But then just imagine only doing your job. Like, you go to leave for the day and the lights shut off, and then you're walking back in. That's what they experience. So, like,
Oh,
you would just be
wow. So
caring
they
for
just
frogs
don't
over and yeah, so they
they
don't
just don't
sleep,
know.
they just it's a perpetual work day, and it's kind
Oh
of like the
god.
ethics of that, it's pretty interesting.
So it's like split personality?
Yeah,
Almost?
basically, but they don't remember. So it's like the same human, but they don't know their work self, and the work self doesn't know their outer self, so it's like an innie and outie situation. It's really
Yeah.
good, I'm on season 2. There's a sound effect, though, in the show, and it happens all the time. It's the elevator beep when the people put their card in, and it shows because it's like the outie puts their card in, they're going down the elevator, and when they go into the elevator and they're going down to their severed basement floor where they work, they, like, transition into their work self, and it plays a lot, and Junie hates the noise. It's like a beep, and
Uh-huh.
every time, without fail, she jumps up, starts barking, doesn't matter if I have it playing on the TV or on my phone, like, she goes crazy, and so I was looking into it, and I guess other people's dogs react the same way, but, like, some, like, get
Weird.
more of, like, a fearful response where they're, like, shaking and they go, like, hide. Junie just, like, barks and, like, looks around as if she thinks someone's here, but it's really weird because I was reading, oh, people are like, "Oh, well, it could be, like, because of the invisible fence or, like, the shock collars, and it's, like, a similar noise," but I've never used any of those on Junie, so I'm like, "What is this tone doing to her brain that causes her to just immediately" and she's heard it, like 'cause they do it a lot in the episodes, like 30 times now, and same reaction every time.
Wow, that's bizarre.
It's super weird.
I almost just wanna look up that sound just to be like, "What does that
It's
sound
just an
like?"
elevator ping, like,
Just
it's
like
nothing
ding
crazy.
kinda thing?
Yes, that's it. It's so weird, but it just, like, sets her off, and I feel bad. I mean, it doesn't seem to frighten her, but she's more so like she's wagging her tail, she's definitely alerted to something, she thinks someone's here, she'll go run and bark at the window. I thought it was really interesting because I was Googling it for a hot minute, and I was just surprised at how quickly I found other people having similar experiences. They're like, "I have to listen to the show with earbuds on because I can't have my dog hear the noise or I'll get too
My
scared." Like, it's so
That's so
serious.
extreme. But also, like, I wonder if cats would be affected as much or if dogs are just, like, super hyper aware of, like, their surroundings in that way. Also, something else that's scary is I'm actively getting sick. Like, in the past, like, 5 minutes, I think I'm getting sick.
Oh my
A runny
god.
nose, my, like, whole face hurts, and I'm starting to cough, like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, we have a recording of you, like, coming down sick in real time. Well, you can just play this for work tomorrow and just be like, "Sorry, I can't come in, I
I
have video
swear I'm
proof."
getting sick. I keep sneezing.
Dude,
Ugh.
you're gonna have an amazing immune system one day. Oh, baby keeps bringing you all sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I blame her all the time.
You've
So
been sick, like, 8 times, I feel like, in the past year.
I think it's been more than that.
Probably, that I know of, I would say.
Yeah. Mhm.
But hey,
Alright.
making it stronger for it, making it
Yeah.
stronger for it. Well, yeah, let's get
Before
into
I
this.
get
Are you
even more
ready?
sick, let's get into
Yeah,
it.
let's before you start, like, wheezing.
Alright, so first, though, Marissa, when you first hear the word swamp, where does your mind go?
Florida.
Yeah. Mine goes to Shrek.
Oh, okay. That's another valid connection.
Yeah, he just wants to go home to his swamp. So, get out of my swamp kinda thing. Now, I feel like people can picture a swamp whenever you say swamp, but do you actually know what a swamp is? I know you probably know what it is, but do our listeners know what a swamp is?
Hmm.
It's a low lying wetland defined by trees and shrubs rather than the soft stemmed grasses of a marsh. In these slow draining areas, fallen leaves and organic matter decompose slowly in stagnant, low oxygen water, eventually creating thick, spongy layers of peat along the swamp floor. Nowhere is this process more iconic than the Okefenokee Swamp, spanning nearly 438,000 acres across southeastern Georgia and northern Florida. It is the largest intact blackwater wetland in North America, largely protected as a national wildlife refuge, and as Marissa said, it's been recently recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its outstanding universal value to humanity. Its name stems from a Native American phrase meaning land of the trembling earth, describing its floating peat mats that shake underfoot, while centuries of decaying cypress leaves leach tannic acids into the water, creating its signature tea-colored, low-pH black water environment. Animals in the swamp include an estimated 10,000 to 15,000 American alligators. They dig deep gator holes that retain water during droughts that provide critical refuge for fish, turtles, and birds. Another resident is the gopher tortoise, which is a keystone species of high ecological importance. Their deep underground burrows, which can extend up to 40 feet long, provide shelter for more than 350 other swamp species. These herbivores can live 40 to 60 years in the wild, and due to their environmental importance, the gopher tortoise was designated as the official state reptile of Georgia in 1989. And an animal I wasn't expecting to find here is the Florida black bear. This unique subspecies of the American black bear has adapted specifically to southeastern swamp and coastal habitats. Did you know there were bears there?
I did, but only because we have a cryptid that may or may not be related to these black bears.
Interesting. All right. Because of the milder southern winters, they enter a period of dormancy rather than going into a true deep hibernation. The vast expanse of the Okefenokee Refuge provides one of the few unbroken wild territories left for them. Next is the largest native snake in North America, the non-venomous eastern indigo snake, which can grow over 8 feet long. But due to habitat fragmentation, this snake is a federally protected threatened species, making the Okefenokee Swamp a vital sanctuary. And finally, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the golden silk orb weaver. This is a spider I saw a lot as a kid without ever knowing what it actually was, and it kind of always terrified me. We always called it a banana spider. It's huge, black and yellow, and it spins beautifully patterned webs that can span several feet across. The females can measure 3 inches long, excluding the leg span, while the males are tiny, often about 1/10 of the female size. But despite their intimidating appearance, their venom is mild and completely harmless to humans. Have you ever seen one of those spiders, Marissa?
I have. It, in fact, transported me back to a very specific experience at the Toledo Zoo in their reptile house. They had one not on display, but just like in a corner of like one of the exhibits, like in the hallway. And it was such a large spider. I remember taking a photo of it. One of its legs were gone from its body, but like in its web still. Don't know if he planned on eating it later or what, but it was just a very visceral memory for me. I immediately just imagined the photo I took with like the crappy 2011 Instagram filter I put on it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a big spider. You would expect it to be in a rainforest or from South America.
Yeah.
Um, it's crazy. Yeah. I remember being so scared of them as a kid. I'd always see them at my grandma's house. But yeah, completely harmless. I wonder if they're the biggest spider that we have. Because I've never seen a spider that size anywhere.
I've
Besides, like,
never seen one in
tarantulas.
the wild. Like I saw one at the Toledo Zoo or like the reptile house, but they also had wild anoles running around.
Really?
Like that escaped at one point and they're just like running around the building. At least when I was there like in my teens.
Wow.
But I've
That's
never
really
seen
cool.
one like in Michigan. Are they native to Michigan? Or I know Southern Illinois is probably a little warmer, but not really. But I mean, you guys also have armadillos. You guys got some other stuff we
Yeah.
don't.
I think I saw the range of these spiders. I briefly looked it up, and Southern Illinois was kind of like the most northern.
Mm,
And I believe we talked about that in our Southern Illinois episode, where Southern Illinois is like the most northern for a lot of species, northern range, which is
yeah.
interesting. The swamp is home to a unique array of plant life also. Down in the water, you'll find floating heart water lily, also known as the banana water lily. I hate the way I said banana. Also known as the banana water lily. Their dense root structures help bind together floating peat, mud, and organic debris, directly contributing to the creation of the swamp's famous floating islands. These lilies also help purify the ecosystem, absorbing heavy metals and other impurities from the acidic water. Next, I want to get into the world of carnivorous plants. Because swamp soil is acidic and nutrient poor, carnivorous plants evolved to get their nitrogen by eating insects. The hooded pitcher plant uses translucent windows to confuse prey until they tire out and slip into its digestive fluids. Meanwhile, the golden trumpet pitcher plant uses poison-laced nectar containing the same paralyzing chemical as poison hemlock to drug insects so they fall right in. It blooms in early spring before its massive traps open, ensuring visiting pollinators can fertilize its flowers in safety.
Do hummingbirds ever drink that poison nectar?
I wonder. I wonder if they can reach. I bet it's happened. I bet they've fallen in before. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, because now I feel like I've seen a photo where it's
Sometimes whenever I think like, has this happened before? I'm like, I think everything has happened. At least once.
that's true.
The history of human presence in the Okefenokee swamp reaches back thousands of years. Early indigenous peoples, including ancestors of the Timucua, navigated its labyrinth waterways and dug out canoes and built ceremonial sand mounds along its tree islands. By the 18th century, Muskogee and Seminole communities called the region home. During the 19th century, Seminole Wars, which was a series of conflicts over control of Florida and the forced relocation of Native Americans, the vast, dense wetland of the Okefenokee swamp served as a vital natural fortress, providing cover and leverage for Seminole resistance against federal troops. Now that we've talked about the peoples who lived in the region and the wildlife that can be found there, let's talk about something a little bit more spooky.
Ooh, thank you for that illuminating natural history. Something that really like impressed upon me, like even when I was doing the research on the cryptids and the folklore, is how deep rooted the love for the region is, both for the like indigenous people that lived there centuries ago and to the people that, well, stole the land from them. But they call
Yeah.
themselves swampers and they're like hermits essentially will live out there in very deep recesses of this swamp, including one man who, in a 1996 article that I didn't feel like paying for, he lived off a bug diet for several years there as he became lost and then just decided to live there for a bit. And that's not the only occurrence. But people living there extremely remotely is definitely not the most strange thing that has occurred or been seen in the swamp. Before we get into the cryptid and the ghostly apparitions seen in the area, the mysterious cryptids, and the strange lights, scroll to the top of the page and you'll see a CNN link, and it's called Capturing the Mystical Energy of the Okefenokee Swamp. And it's this photojournalism story. And just like quickly scroll through these these photos and be as mesmerized as I am. But like the beauty of
Ooh,
photography.
the
Like,
alligator one.
yeah, it's so amazing. So I will be posting on social media this week, and I'm saying it on the podcast live on air that I will edit later, but I will not cut out. So you will see some of these photos on our social media if you follow us. And if you don't, you should. But just beautiful photographs capturing the natural beauty of the swamp while using different lighting techniques to really enhance like that mystic magical status that the swamp has on people. And it's just absolutely stunning. They're really cool. Even just like the one of the century-old hunting cabin. So the swamp is composed of a bunch of islands, and some have
Oh.
centuries-old buildings on them, which I'm sure has lots of history and maybe a ghostly friend or foe or two. But yeah, just really cool. And I would really love to go there. And I already did some calculations. I am supposed to be going to Florida in October, and Okefenokee Swamp is only 4.5 hours away. So maybe I can make something work. I love a swamp. I love swamps. I think it'd rejuvenate my soul. The Okefenokee is often described as unlike anywhere else on Earth, with it feeling as though you have stepped back into a time where dinosaurs roamed the land. The swamp is filled to the brim with rich folklore of people who have lived in the region for generations. First, we're going to start with a familiar tale. It involves strange lights, trains, and ghosts carrying lanterns. Do you remember what area we covered? This is a pop quiz.
It was in Ohio.
It was correct. The Moonville Tunnel.
Yes.
Lots of ghosts, lots of lanterns. Um, if you played a like drinking bingo game with us saying lanterns, I think in that episode, you would have won 10 times over. So this very much so reminded me of that. But they have mysterious lights in this swamp area as well, and particularly in the woods adjacent. So it's referred to as the Cogdell light, and it's a greenish yellow glow that is seen in the woods surrounding the swamp, and it's only found late at night. Legends say that drivers can go into the woods near the swamp and turn off their car before flashing their headlights to call the ghost that is causing the light. I like that they have to call the ghost specifically. It's very much, it's just very polite.
Yeah. The ghost is like, "Okay, yeah, I'll come to the door,"
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. It's not, oh, their car's stalled out. Oh, they're driving through. I'm going to freak them out. It's no, they have to like ask for me to show up. So that's polite. Once they turn off their car, they flash their headlights saying, "Hi, ghost, I'd like to see your lights, please." From there, a light apparently shoots from the woods and seemingly heads right towards the car. So, there are two theories on what this strange light is, and will-o'-wisps or swamp gas is not at the top. Both theories involve some scary, stereotypical campfire ghost stories. The first involves a man who is decapitated by a train, sounds familiar, and is using a lantern to search for his head.
Hmm.
The other is that two forbidden lovers were killed by one of their fathers, and they used the lantern to find their way through the woods. You may be thinking another story where an angry dad kills a couple. No, I mean, he didn't want that to happen, but I guess he thought they were robbers.
Oof.
If that doesn't make much sense to you, it didn't make much sense to me either, but it was on hauntedplaces.org, so you just have to take it for what it is.
I mean, everything's happened once.
Exactly. In fact, visitors on hauntedplaces.org rate the Cogdell Light in Georgia on an 87 out of 100 in the estimated haunted probability scale. So there were 19 comments on the Cogdell Light, and they ranged from several encounters with the ghost light, some saying this isn't real, it's swamp gas, but the vast majority disagreeing. Harry writes, I assure you, it's not swamp gas. When I was a teenager, several of my friends went to Cogdell one night to see the light. We followed the old rail bed, which had been turned into a dirt road a good distance into the swamp. Once we got there, I'm ad-libbing right there. We waited and waited and waited. After about 20 minutes, one of my friends said, "Screw this, I'm going to walk up the road a ways." So we all piled out and up the road we go. Keep in mind that it's pitch black in the swamp, and we are stumbling up the road when a tiny pinpoint of light appears about 100 feet in front of us. We stopped dead. The light slowly began to get larger and move towards us. We ran for the car, piled in, and watched as the light got as big as a house and started rolling towards the car, changing colors as it came. As my buddy was trying frantically to start the car, it reached the front bumper, then suddenly flashed bright enough to blind everybody. It was like 500 flashbulbs had gone off at once. It then disappeared. We couldn't get back to the hard road fast enough. Scared the absolute hell out of 6 teenage boys, I can tell you that. And this Harry was passionate because he was replying to naysayers in the other comments being like, "I saw it with 5 of my friends." Like, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that does sound scary, especially the part where the light got as big as a house.
Yeah, so
It's really big.
it starts small and it really gets increasingly larger, which why are we still thinking it's a lantern? I don't know. But I also wouldn't necessarily think this is swamp gas. So we did cover swamp gas or will-o'-wisps in I think our second or third ever episode. Doop 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 doo. The Old House Woods in one of the Carolinas. You should give that a listen if you haven't already. But will-o'-wisps are essentially mixing of decaying matter, chemicals happening, and it causes lights above swampy areas. That was a very poor explanation, but maybe easy enough for you to understand. This isn't what that's sounding like to me, especially if it's occurring in the woods. They're not seeing the lights over the swamp, which is what historically swamp gas is.
And people are always trying to disprove that something is like swamp gas. But honestly, like I would love to see swamp gas.
People act like it's such a common occurrence, and I'm just like, where? Show me. I
Right.
would love to see it.
Yeah.
So, the swamp is incredibly diverse, as Grace highlighted, and not just with the natural fauna, but also with several cryptids. The first is the Beast of Okefenokee, a cat like or dog like, or as many describe, bear dog like creature seen around the swamp, particularly in the northern Florida portion of the swamp. The beast has been the subject of multiple books, documentaries, and even a 2016 horror film. Reports of the creature emerged in the 1960s and 1970s and even prompted a local newspaper, the Gainesville Times, to assign a reporter to the case by the name of Windy Jake. Several witnesses had apparently made contact with this beast, and evidence was left behind. The creature left long scratch marks on car doors and trunks, and unlike a lot of cryptids, the creature is just as likely to be seen in the daytime as it is at night. One witness recalled hitting something while driving through the swamp, and upon getting out of her vehicle to inspect what she hit, she came across the beast and it had chased her back to her car, leaving scratch marks on her door.
Can I just say all I'm thinking about is Jimothy? Like there's scratch marks on the car because he's just trying to jump up on top
He's
of it.
just trying.
He's just scratching the shit out of people's cars and chasing people.
He's trying his best. He might just be a little odd looking.
Yeah.
And those that have actually witnessed the bear dog creature often see it pursuing relatively natural behaviors. It's not, beating its chest, summoning Satan. It's not trying to do nothing crazy. He's often hunting prey, which is pretty normal for what appears to be a carnivorous mammal. And they're often seen hunting white-tailed deer. Animal
Jesus, how
mutil.
big is this thing?
So it's actually described as about 6 or 7 feet long, with a dog bear like body covered with a thick coat of dark brown to light brown fur, bear like limbs, a dog like head, and a cat like tail.
That's crazy.
It's really strange to say the least. Like the way they describe it sounds insane, but the behaviors doesn't sound as crazy. I mean, scratching car doors and stuff, that's not that great. But chasing prey, just hanging out in the swamp, living its life. I mean, at that point, you're in its habitat. As a result, animal mutilation has commonly been reported throughout this area, with remains being partially eaten. That can be normal. But more strangely, specific organs have been found removed from animal carcasses. Which specific organs? I could not find more details. Let's just guess an organ for fun. I'll say the spleen. Wait, do all animals have spleens? I know we do, but isn't it kind of useless from what I understand?
I have no
Or is
idea.
it the gallbladder? I don't know.
Gallbladder,
I
maybe.
know
I
the
don't know.
gallbladder is useless.
My first thought were lungs. I feel like the lungs would be something would wanna eat.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll go with lungs. I like that. Sightings of the creature actually continue to this day, with reports occurring as recently in 2020 and 2022. Another weird thing I noticed with the various reports, which all very similar, animals stalking prey, they see it chasing something, and people just happen to see it when they're driving through. It occurs both equally day and night, but also equally throughout the year. This animal is active. It's not just spring or fall, it's throughout the year they're seeing this animal. So, Wendy Jake, the reporter from Gainesville Times that was assigned to the case was originally pretty skeptical of the witnesses, but quickly became convinced of their sincerity. The series of articles on the creature actually that she did was later compiled into a book titled The Beast of Okefenokee Swamp, Tailing Okefenokee's Bear Dog. In the accounts, she reports that the beast was often seen walking on all fours. Seems pretty normal, with very few rare accounts where the creature was standing on its hind legs, but in a fashion similar to bears. It's not walking around like a human. It seems so more so it would temporarily stand upright. So, what is this weird bear dog cat like tail creature? It's most commonly thought to be a late surviving bear dog, which is thought to be an extinct family of terrestrial carnivores that reached to sizes consistent with witness encounters. However, this hypothesis is met with some skepticism due to a lack of fossil record in the area. I mainly was seeing a conflict in the Pliocene and Pleistocene eras without knowing that much about archaeology and not feeling like getting into it. I left it at that. But look at these two photos. I was actually kind of shocked where the photo on the left here shows the bear dog family of what that looks like. And to the right, it's a illustration of what the beast of Okefenokee Swamp may look like based on witness descriptions. They look pretty similar to me, but I will say that bear dog image is almost identical to what the witness encounters describe. A dog, a bear-like body, that's a stretch a little, but a cat-like tail definitely, and a dog-like head definitely.
And I wonder if it could be a cougar of some kind, like maybe just a darker cougar. But it's the tail that confuses me the most, I think. 'Cause, like,
Totally,
not a lot
and
of things have a long cat-like tail unless it's a cat.
exactly, and that's actually one of the other most common theories is that it's some sort of misidentified animal, whether it's a mistaken for a gray wolf or even a large dog like a Great Pyrenees, which seems kind of silly. But others theorize that the creature may actually just be a bear or a cougar with possible mange or another abnormality that's just making it look slightly different than what you would normally perceive it to look like. And both black bears, as you mentioned, and cougars have been sighted in this region. So they are common in this region, which is of note.
That's really cool, though, because I really like the idea that it could be an ancient animal or an extinct animal that, like, is just living in the swamps still.
Those are always my favorite theories because they're just, I don't know, the most fun.
I want it to be true so bad.
Living dinosaurs.
Mhm.
So another cryptid is the lesser known Georgia pigman, which seems to be a local variation of sorts of Bigfoot. On a forum thread from 2002 talks of, quote, old swampers recounting tales of the South Georgia pigman. Often found deep within the swamp, reports describe a creature like that of a large ape that walks upright with hair and a nose similar to that of a pig. Observers often recall a skunk like odor that has accompanied the sightings. Despite the creature's scary appearance, though, there have never been any signs of aggression or hostility from the creature. In fact, the creature has been described as timid or even shy, with, and I'm serious, sad and expressive
Mm.
eyes. Just makes
Aw. That'd be so, like, I don't know, surprising to see, like, you see this creature and it looks at you and it's just got, like, sad eyes.
what a horrifying thing where you're just like, oh, that's like horrifying, no offense. It's probably kind of ugly, but then it just has the saddest eyes.
But then you just call it the pig man, and that's why it's sad.
Yeah.
Oh, poor little guy.
Oh my goodness. Some theorize that the southern Georgia pigman could possibly be related to the Florida skunk ape somehow through a series of interconnected rivers and swamps that could blend their lineage.
Do they have to keep naming these as, like, insults, though? Like, pig man, skunk ape. Like, come on.
You know, that's true. They never like name them just
No wonder they're sad.
yeah. What if, like, how they did with birds or some animals where they name it after the founder's last name? There's no cryptid with the founder's last name as the animal, which is probably fine, but could you imagine, like
Kirtland's ape.
yeah, the Kirtland's ape or yeah, silly. So, not only is the swamp home to a pigman, um, and a bear dog, the Beast of Okefenokee, there's also perhaps one of the earliest recorded sightings of Bigfoot. We're talking Bigfoot proper. So, apparently, Bigfoot actually attacked a party of hunters in the swamp in 1829. Settlers were working in the region in the winter of 1828 to 1829 when they were experiencing extreme drought, and so they decided to go deeper into the swamp than they ever have before. Upon going further into the swamp, they stumbled upon some crazily large footprints. It was, quote, the length of the foot. No, I'm just gonna, no. The length of the foot. So apparently, the foot was roughly 18 inches long, 9 inches wide, and apparently they were seeing some creepy Bigfoot like creature who moved in an easy, quote, hesitating gait, his stride from heel to toe being a trifle over 6 feet. Not a trifle. Like, that's terrifying. So once they saw that giant footprint, they had enough. It was winter. There was a huge drought. They're seeing giant footprints. They wanted nothing to do with it. They decided they saw enough. So they decided to make the trek, 4-week long trek, mind you, back to their homes when the party of 9 men actually stumbled upon the tracks yet again. And at this point, the strange creature that was probably responsible for those tracks charged their camp. From a journal entry written in this harrowing encounter, the next minute he was full in their view, advancing upon them with a terrible look and ferocious mien. Our little band instinctively gathered close in body and presented their rifles. The huge being, nothing daunted, bounded upon his victims, and in the same instant received the contents of 7 rifles. He snatched many guns. That's crazy. The wounded creature, so they did wound him a bit, but not before he killed 5 of the explorers. And he did so by wringing the head from the body.
Oh my god. And they weren't able to kill him?
They continued to fight the remaining 4, and the monster, writhing and exhausted, finally collapsed. The remaining men gathered around the creature for closer inspection, and they found a 13-foot tall from head to toe being.
That's twice the size as a normal person.
Right. Well, that's also, to be fair, I feel like twice the size of a normal Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I feel like usually they're 7 to 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if maybe big feet, big thigh, I don't know if it's an octopi sort of situation, probably not, were more prevalent in the 1800s and earlier, and then industrialization and further modernization of things and climate change has decimated their populations as it has done everything else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And as a result, they just like can't get as big as they used to. Like they're shrinking in size because they don't have the nutrients to get to their full size.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is like the farther north you go, usually the bigger bodied animals are because with the cold, they have less actual surface area.
You're saying animals have less surface area in northern climates?
Yeah, and they're bigger.
Okay. So Bergman's rule states that within a broadly distributed species, individuals in colder environments tend to be larger, while those in warmer regions are smaller. Larger body size increases volume faster than surface area, lowering the surface area to volume ratio. This means less heat is lost relative to heat produced.
Yeah, see, I knew it, but I didn't know how to say it.
Well, I just read straight up. I wouldn't have been able to say that either. That's really interesting. I did not know that. I don't remember ever learning that. That's really cool. Yeah, I guess there's another rule that's often associated with it, and it's Allen's rule, which complements this rule by focusing on body shape. So animals in cold climates evolved shorter limbs, ears, and tails to reduce
They're
exposed
more
surface
compact.
area. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. So they're more compact, but they're larger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always think of like a snow leopard.
Yeah, I like
They're
that.
pretty
Arctic
big.
foxes. That's fun. So we just have a couple more things to kind of wrap up. The first is from the folklore or legends of the indigenous people that called the Okefenokee home for centuries. So early Muskogee Indians that lived in the region for centuries made naturalists aware the center was an island inhabited by a race of incredibly beautiful women called the Daughters of the Sun. Their husbands were fierce men and cruel to strangers. The hunters that were encroaching upon this land while the Cree Indians were there kind of basically scoffed at this notion. But actually, what they later found was that the island was protected by some sort of magic. So they found a sort of labyrinth enchanted land. Um, and and them experiencing this enchanted land and seeing the giant daughters of the sun themselves, the legends grew of their more menacing husbands that were of gigantic stature who would kill any outsider who dared to enter the swamp. Fun fact there. Lastly, we're going to get into the legend of Old Molly. So, this swamp has been a source of refuge throughout generations. And some that have grown to love and work in this area have been heavily impacted both by the nature but also by the ghostly inhabitants there. We're going to end on a little poem that Eldon Griffith, a worker of Okefenokee Swamp Park of 30 years, wrote about Old Molly, the ghost that haunts Pioneer Island in the swamp. And apparently Molly was a long time dedicated park worker who now haunts the island. Old Molly. Strange things sometimes on Pioneer Island occur when most everyone is gone for the night. Some say it's old Molly, and they almost saw her. It was enough, they said, to give them a fright. A door will swing open with no one around, or perhaps something will clatter to the floor. Laugh, friend, at this little tale if you will. Say that you don't believe in any ghost. Stay then, just one night, in the old grist mill. Then we will see who is laughing the most. I feel like I did a very bad job of reading that poem, or it doesn't rhyme as well as it should have. But that is the story of Old Molly and the various cryptids that call the Okefenokee Swamp home.
It's amazing that one area can have so many cryptids and history in it.
Yeah, just amazing, stunning. I want to go so bad. I want to go to any swamp ever, but this might be my new top favorite place I want to go,
Yeah.
honestly. I'm trying to think of what my previous one was. I think it was also like a marshy, swampy place, possibly. But yeah, I really want to go here.
I think I would want to go there to see the wildlife, but all of the cryptids kind of scare me. And, that just leads me into let's do the scare scale. Choose your cryptid, and this is the scale. 1, mildly unsettling, but you can shrug it off. 5 is scary, but it makes an entertaining story and you barely need therapy for it. 10, this event will haunt you for the rest of your life and you're never going into any swamp ever again.
I'm choosing the pig man. I would say a 5.5.
That's it.
He's got sad eyes. I don't know. It's the thing is, while there is a lot of cryptids in the area, for the most part, they don't seem really aggressive or anything. They're just doing their thing.
Except for that 13-foot Bigfoot. who was, like, taking heads off and stuff.
True, that's true. I mean, him yeah, that would've been
Yeah.
awful.
And I feel like the pig man could have been, like, his little brother.
Yeah, that's his great, 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 great nephew.
Yeah, like, he gets bullied probably, that's why he has sad eyes.
Aw, probably.
Yeah,
Hmm. What about
yeah.
you?
Yeah, I was gonna do the Bigfoot, and it was gonna be a 10, like, full 10. If I saw anything that was 13 feet high that wasn't, like, a giraffe. I don't know how tall elephants are, but if I saw anything that tall, I would be scared shitless, probably. Yeah, I wouldn't wanna be outside ever again.
No. And you did just give me some perspective where I do have a thing with giraffes, actually. I don't know if I really like them because of their height. So maybe I need to think about the height more. Um, but more so elephants, I have a phobia of their trunks. Just their trunk.
In
So
what way?
it's I don't like it. I don't like how it can grab things.
Mhm.
It bothers me.
2.
What happened is, and I'd never thought of it before, I was at the Detroit Zoo. I was, like, 10 years old, I'm walking along minding my business. I'm walking along the back end of the elephant exhibit, assumingly, and there's just, like, wooden wall or there's, like, walls, and then there's, like, wooden, like, opening doors, and there's, like, little crack underneath, and so you can't see anything on the other side. But I just see the end of this little elephant trunk just, like, at the end of it, just, like, snarling and sniffing onto things, and I don't know what it was. It was like a giant worm. It just disgusted me and bothered me. Like, I was repulsed.
That's so funny.
Just, like, imagine the just remove the elephant from it. Just think of that trunk. It's disgusting. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
the way they're just, like, trying to
Yeah,
grab.
and all I saw was just, like, a wall and then just, like, this giant gray, like, opening mouth, just like like how a dog, like, snarls and sniffs. It was just so gross, honestly. Like, I loved it, but I was disgusted at the same time, and I, like, never wanted to see that again.
Wow.
It was
So,
worse
Marissa,
than
if that kinda stuff traumatizes you, then 13-foot Bigfoot and Pigman Pigface? Wait, what was it? Pigman?
Pigman.
They
Then
would
I guess he's a
traumatize you.
10. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
At least I can see the eyes, the full body, like, if it's just the trunk, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like for the Pigman, it's like, he looks at you and he's got the sad eyes. It would be really, really scary, but you'd feel bad about it later, probably.
Right, like, you feel bad that you got visibly scared and probably made him feel worse.
Yeah. Like, what would his scare scale be, you know? Oh, I never thought of that. The scare scale of all the cryptids. They're probably more scared than we are, you know?
They're scared of us?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's like, "Oh my god, I'm coming around another person again. I'm so insecure about my face, and they're gonna judge me, and I know they're gonna write about me online." And, like, the last people said some really mean stuff about me. They said I smell like a skunk, like, and it really hurt my feelings. I just took a shower in the swamp earlier.
Oh my
That's so
gosh.
sad.
It's so sad.
Justice for the Southern Georgia pig man.
Yeah, we have to get justice.
Poor
Bullying
buddy.
is not cool, even if they're cryptids, you guys.
That's true. So valid. We're an anti-bullying podcast.
Yeah.
It's all an allegory.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Nature Obscura. Don't forget to rate and review wherever you listen and give us a follow on social media. We'll post photos of photos that we're talking about and discussing throughout the podcast so you can kind of follow along and take a look. Um,
Stay obscure, Earthlings.
transmission ending.